Welcome to the Soul Tribe Podcast. The Soul Tribe Podcast was created to help you navigate through the world of spirituality, wellness, and self-development in an easy, grounded, and relatable way. We break down everything from the Akashic Records, manifesting, spirituality, and so much more. We want to help expand your boundaries and bring the spiritual world to you in a fun and easy way. Get ready to be inspired with tips, tools, and easy to digest information. Let's do this.
Hi everyone, and thanks for tuning in with us again with the Soul Tribe Podcast. Today's episode is an episode that we're gonna discuss comfort zone, and it's linked to a lot of other previous episodes we talked about, and we'll get into that, but we're going to give a little bit of explanation of what we think it limits you in your life and how you can push past it, and we'll talk about our own experiences and hopefully our information, our own experiences, and all the things that we've kind of gathered up through our lives. Maybe that will help you feel enlightened in some way to push past your new comfort zone, and hopefully it'll help you to get to a better place in your own life. So I guess let's get started. I wanted to start just by describing in my own words what I feel is comfort zone for me. So for me, comfort zone is that one place, and this could be professional, it could be personal, it could be like any aspect of your life, right? It's that one place where you feel you know it well. You know exactly how to make it function for you. It is your day-to-day. It is now your new norm, right? And thinking about going past that or changing that current situation creates some sort of internal fear for yourself. And that's why that's your comfort zone, because that's where you're comfortable now, right? So going past that, that's the uncomfortable part. So for me, that's what comfort zone is. It's the little warm feeling you have that I know exactly how to make this function. I understand how my day-to-day is going to go. I know exactly what to do to get everything, all the, the ball rolling and the day to go exactly the way I need it. If I go past this situation, if I change it, it's scary. What's going to happen and how am I going to make it work, or will I even make it work? So that for me, that's a bit of a description of how I see comfort zone. But Lorena, give me a description of comfort zone in your words.
I think comfort zone is like the easy thing. It's the routine. It's what you're used to. It's what makes you feel safe. And I think a lot of us, maybe not every aspect of our life, in some ways, it's nice to live in this comfort zone, right? Where you can predict things. You know what your day is going to look like. You know what your commute's going to look like. You know what tasks you have to do at work. And you don't have to have anxiety, or you don't have to have all these feelings pop up where you're just kind of like, what's going to happen? You don't know. It's like that uncertainty. When you step out of your comfort zone, it's hard. So you really have to mentally, I think, spiritually, physically be prepared for it. But I think it's like the easy thing. It's like what you're used to. It's the rituals. It's not even the rituals. I think rituals can be actually kind of a positive thing, but it's more like the day-to-day. It's what you do every day that makes you feel safe. And I think most of us, maybe not every aspect of our life, we're living in our comfort zone, but a lot of times we are, because it is so easy and we don't have to worry and we know what's going to happen. But I don't think you're growing if you're not in some ways in your life kind of going out of your comfort zone,
Yeah. And I think it's like really important to show the person what comfort zone is by just looking at it maybe from a different perspective, in that there was once upon a time you weren't in the situation you are now. And the only way you got to that situation or that new position in life was by pushing yourself past that comfort zone. And a good example of that is something that we've all been through is leaving our parents' house for the first time. You know, you grow up with your parents, you grow up in their house. Even if you moved houses with your parents, right? But you lived with them and they were your stability. And you knew that if anything happened to you, oh, mom and dad are there. Or if you had caretakers, maybe you didn't have a mom and dad, but whoever it is that, brought you up and, and took care of you in this world, leaving their nest, leaving their home and going, okay, I'm going to go move. And then I have to pay my rent and I have to make sure to pay on time. And I'm going to have to go to work now. Like all those new things that all of us at some point went through when we left our parents' house, even if it was to go to, university or college, you still had to leave and you need to think about dinner and you needed to think about, cleaning up. And that you pushed past that. That was a comfort zone that you once had and you went past it. And imagine if you hadn't pushed yourself past that comfort zone. Imagine what your life would be like. So I think that's a good thing to think about when one's stuck in a situation where they really feel like they need this other thing or this change, but they're kind of scared, like the fear kicks in and the, unknowing kicks in. Think about that. I left my parents' house once. I can do this. I did that. I can do this. And imagine if I stay here, if I can continue the same thing, like there's no progression, there's no learning, there's not going past anything. You just have to push past the fear and create a new comfort zone, which one day you're gonna have to break through that one too, probably, right?
Yeah, it's like a staircase, right? Like you go up one step and then you become comfortable with that. Then it's the next step. But I think in general, stepping out of your comfort zone, or I don't know, for us, I think a lot of things that have come to us were like spiritual callings, right? Like even the podcast or moving countries or, going to a new job. I think in some ways it's also you progressing to the next step so you can move forward and grow spiritually and professionally, because that might be part of your spiritual path. But I think in general, stepping out of your comfort zone means stepping into your spiritual path, your spiritual journey. And it's really hard sometimes to trust that it's going to be okay, or trust yourself that you're going to be able to deal with the situation, because your ego kicks in, all the doubts start kicking in. You don't know if you're worthy of whatever's coming to you. Setting aside that you might deep down know that you deserve it, there might still be fears. There might still be fears that you might not be able, like, I don't know, for example, for like a job, right? You're going on to a whole new type of job, or you're moving country and you don't speak the language, like in your case, like that's really scary. That's, there's a boundary where you might not be able to tell somebody how you feel or what you need, but you still get over it and you deal with it. And then the next thing seems less scary. So it's like you can grow way quicker when you start flowing and following these little like wake up calls that you get, right?
Yeah, I remember like the first time, because when I was in Amsterdam, it was different. When I first moved to Amsterdam, it was different because everyone speaks English there, right? So, and you're not expected to have to speak Dutch. But when I moved here with Sander, like in the north, and, there's not that much English. I mean, they'll understand you, but you're kind of expected to try to understand them. And that makes total sense. But, you go to the grocery store. Like, I remember going to the grocery store a few times, and they're like talking to me in Dutch, and I'm going, I don't know what you're saying. And in the beginning, I was really uncomfortable. Like, and now I'm used to it, and I'm starting to understand words little by little, and I'm able to respond. I don't feel as uncomfortable, but I remember the first times I went, I actually felt like a little nervous, and like I was like, oh my God, I don't know what they're saying. I don't know what she's saying to me. And they're really nice. I mean, still, like, I would go, sorry, and then they would, like, kind of respond in English. But still, like you feel uncomfortable because you're in their world, and it's their culture, and it's their language, and you want to respect it. But it's still, like, you don't really understand.
But even the other day, we were on the phone, and you got a delivery, and I could hear you in the background. The guy was speaking just Dutch to you, and you were understanding what he was saying. I don't know what was going on because I couldn't see anything, but I could see you responding words, like where before maybe you would have freaked out,
That was actually easy to understand because I saw that he had gone to the neighbor's house, And here's a weird thing, because here they like deliver if your neighbor's not home, they'll deliver the package to whoever's home around. So you're like receiving your neighbor's package, and they're receiving your packages when you're not home either. I know, it's weird. Like I always told Sandra, I'm like, I don't know, like I've never seen this before, but okay, good. But yeah, so since I'm home a lot with Aurora, I think the postman already knows to come and drop it off here. So like when I see that they're coming, and I can tell when the package is not for me, because I'm getting really good at reading body language because I don't speak the language. So from his body language, and I saw that he had come from the front of the road. Like I was like, okay, the package isn't for me. And then he said a bunch of words in a package, and he said something about, and I heard him say the number of a house. I was like, oh, okay, this package is for them. He's asking if I can receive it. So it's like deduction in a way with experience, with body language reading. It's a little bit of everything. It's not that I totally understood him, but you like make it work, right?
Yeah,
and that's part of like comfort zone. Yeah, you make it work.
But I think if you listen to your ego and you listen to all the doubts that are in your head with, I don't know, making a decision or moving forward or, getting out of your comfort zone, whatever that is, like you said, it could be any aspect of your life. If you listen to that little voice in your head that's telling you, nope, don't do it, it's too scary, you're not going to be good enough, or it's not going to work, you're just going to waste your time, then you won't ever do anything, because you need to actually try it.
My favorite example for that, what you're talking about, is what the masters always say. And I love this saying, and I've probably said it in other episodes, and I'll probably repeat it till the day that I'm like dead. But sleepy talk, they say this so much. Sleepy talk is like that conversation that you have with yourself, or that internal conversation that you have when you're like laying down on the pillow, like the pillow talk, they call it too, sleepy talk or pillow talk. When you're laying down your pillow and you just kind of go, oh man, I would love to do this one day, or oh man, it would be great if I got to do this one day, or whatever it is you're thinking. That's you actually connected to your intuition and to your actual like contractual desires, like those desires that come up because you're connected to that for some reason, or it's an experience you're supposed to live through, or it's a pending karmic thing that's going to take you to, or it's something that you're just supposed to do, right? That's why you feel it. It feels so warm and it feels like nice. And then when you think about it, like you go to sleep and then you wake up and you think about it, you go, no, I can't do that. That's too difficult. How am I going to do that? No, but I don't have the money, or that means I have to move, or that means I have to like get up and do this. And how am I going to make it work with my really busy job? Or how am I going to work with my family, or whatever it is that stops you when you wake up in the morning? That's the ego that's jumping in and telling you, no, you can't do this. Like, are you crazy? You can't do this. And so the masters always say, listen to the sleepy talk or the pillow talk. Don't listen to the voice you hear in the morning, because the voice you hear in the morning is your ego snapping back in to you and going, nope, you can't do that, or you don't deserve that, or you're not good enough for that, right?
Yeah, like I think the podcast is a really good example for us together of comfort zone. Like I had started doing Akashic Records for people. And one day, I don't even remember. I know I was here in the living room where I am right now. And I remember saying, we need to do a podcast. I had no idea what it took to start a podcast. I don't even like listening to my own voice. Now I feel comfortable with it. But we were like, what are we going to say? I was like, well, we need to just get a message out there. That's what I'm getting, and we need to do it. And I remember we talked about it a few times, and then I started getting really excited, and you were kind of like, all right, let's see how it, like what we need. And then we started like both investigating, and I asked people questions. And there were moments that I said to myself, am I crazy? What is this idea? Why did it come to me? What do people need to listen to us say? Like, there's so many podcasts out there now. There's just going to be one more. And that's the ego, because even if one person listens to this podcast or an episode and gets something out of it, then we're fulfilling our purpose. And that's what it's about. It doesn't matter the numbers. It doesn't matter, failing. It doesn't matter. If you feel that you're in your purpose, which I feel like we are completely in our purpose, and we're doing exactly what we're here to do with the podcast and with the Akashic Records and with healing and with getting messages out. I think it's more about the messages, because the Akashic Records are also messages. They're messages people need to receive, and we're giving that to people. then we are aligned. We are on our path. We are living fully. Even though it was scary, even though we had our doubts, even though we questioned everything, we went back and forth with, what microphone do we buy? Should we buy a microphone? What software do we use? What platform do we go on? Like, it was so many questions, so many things that now if I look back and say, what if I ignored that message? What if I didn't go through with it? And what if you said, no, let's not do it? What if you said, okay, and then I said no? Like, it wouldn't be happening right now. So that just, I don't know, it just blows my mind to look back and think.
Yeah, so the only reason why we ended up doing it is because we both didn't listen to our egos try to say, what do we have to share with the world? Why does anyone want to listen to our words? Or, why would anybody want to listen to what we're channeling? So it was us in that case, listening to our sleepy pillow talk and, which is our intuition, listening to our own intuition and listening to where our guides were pushing us to go. And we didn't let our egos, which they kicked in. Definitely. Like you said, oh my God, I hate hearing my voice. Oh my goodness. What am I going to talk about? Like, how are we going to know what subjects to even talk about? Are we going to run out of things to talk about? But that all gradually came as soon as we started accepting it very slowly. I was starting to channel like, oh, you got to talk about this and we got to talk about that.
Let it flow.
It kind of all, it all kind of came in on its own. And it still is. Our episodes usually is you or me going, oh my God, we have to talk about this. And it like comes into our vision or it comes in, through, our communications or channeling. And like, we don't really push it. It just happens. It comes to us. And like, it's something that I guess individuals as a collective need to listen to, and we can talk about it. We can make a discussion. Sometimes it doesn't even matter if you're giving, this, we could be talking about it, and just talking about it can actually open up the discussion for a lot of individuals or the world, or make you think about it, and maybe it'll make you improve something in your life. So like you said, the mission isn't numbers, and the mission isn't, am I doing it as best as I can? Because that's another thing humans do. I can do better, can I? I can do better. I can always do better. And that's true. You can always do better because we're here to improve and we're here to get better. And that's part of actually why we're here. It's evolution, right? In a spiritual aspect, we're here to evolve. But it's not about that. It's about talking from your heart and helping other people open up their hearts and their heart chakras, and all of us as human beings connecting and going into this new generation that's going to be, from what I've channeled so many times, 2020 is like a new step in the evolution, the human evolution for our spirits, for our souls. And so we're here to help the universe. We're just like this little tiny key that the universe is using, but there's keys all around the world. There's a bunch of people talking for things that, humanity needs to open up to and listen to, right? And we're just one of those keys, but the universe can't do it with one person and one key. There needs to be a bunch of keys all around the universe, and then all of them are almost like streaming. Like what I'm going to tell you what I'm seeing because I'm channeling it, right? All those little keys are like channeling information or conversations that need to happen to awaken certain individuals and certain communities. And then all those keys bring out this light, and that light, every individual that it reaches, they light up, and then they might talk about it or even just wake up to it, and their light comes out of them until everything is lit up all around like Earth. That's how I see it. It's like this beautiful thing, and you're this little tiny light in that big image, but you're not the important one. The important one is the person that's listening and activating it with you. So that's like the important part. All those that are listening and going, oh my God, that resonates with me. Oh my God, I feel that. Oh my God, like I feel better now, and now I can do this for myself and my plan. So they're opening up to be more evolved for themselves. You know what I mean? Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, yeah, I can imagine it. I can see it. Yeah, and I think that what you just said. I think two things: the acceptance. Once we accepted this, it's a challenge. Like, this is a challenge. Challenges are getting out of your comfort zone. And I think we're presented with challenges, I wouldn't say every day, but we are presented with challenges in our life. And I think that's where we need to set our ego aside and decide that we are going to accept a challenge for our soul's journey, for ourselves to grow. And that's our responsibility of being awakened enough to see that as a challenge that we need to take. And for us, I don't know what it is for everybody, but for us, it was definitely, and I'm like getting goosebumps just talking about it. Like, it's not even about us. It's about everybody else. And I think,
Maybe explain to those that don't know what goosebumps means, because goosebumps is a really important sign. And if you're a channeler or if you get information, or maybe there's individuals, that are channeling and they don't realize it. So maybe explain to them what the goosebumps is.
For me, the goosebumps are like that sometimes it's that I'm channeling energy, but even when I'm doing a reading, I won't get goosebumps the whole time. I'll get a goosebump when something is so, like, even I'm saying that I'm getting goosebumps, all my hairs are like sticking up. It's when I'm saying something so aligned and so spiritually connected that it's like it shows up, it comes up in my body. Like, it is the truth. It is an elevated message. It is something that's not even coming from me. And that's what it is for me. I don't know what it is for you, but
Yeah, it is. It's that for me too. But also at some stages, if I'm channeling information for somebody, sometimes the goosebumps will be something that they want to make sure the person completely understands. Like, it wakes my body up for me to go to the person. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, you really need to understand. This is really important. This is like a key element to your entire information right now. For whatever it is you need to know this, like 100% know it. So sometimes it's for me to wake up in a body form to like kind of go, listen, you really need to understand. And sometimes it's that I'm totally channeling information. The words are not mine. The information is completely being sent to me, and it's almost like a confirmation of the strongness of what's being received. And that's kind of like the same thing you said, just with different words, I think.
Like I was saying, this isn't about us. It's about everybody else and the message that we need to get across. And I think the way that you showed, like you explained that, and I could see it. That's what we are, just one little speck in this huge universe. Yet we're all being pushed to wake up. We're all being pushed to see things in a different way, to act a different way, to be selfless, to put messages out there, to wake up, because this is the time to wake up. We can't keep waiting. There's no more time. Like, that's the message I keep getting as well. So yeah, and I think going back to the comfort zone, it could have been easy for me to not have taken on as well this message. I got to start opening up Akashic Records too. That would have been easy. Oh, I didn't have to study, spend hours studying, wake up at 5 a.m. to do my classes because I have a full-time job. Like, it could have just been easy. That would have been easy. And I could not ignore the messages that were coming through. I could not ignore that calling. And I feel like when something's so strong that you can't ignore it, you have to push past your comfort zone. You just have to do it. You can't keep waiting, because there might not be time. I think messages are coming through to people even stronger now. That's what I feel, and that's what's been happening with me. And I think people are getting huge wake-up calls now. Bigger than ever, to just do what they're here to do. And it's yesterday I got a reading, my own reading from Christos, and it was so eye-opening. It was amazing, and I'm so grateful that he had the time to even do the reading. But there's a lot going on right now. And like you said, 2020 is going to be a big year. So I think 2020 is going to be a year for everybody to get out of their comfort zone. I think that's going to be a lot of what's going to happen for everybody. And I feel, especially for the people that are listening here, it's like you need to take it upon yourself to take it serious. Like, these messages you're getting, because I think everybody that's listening is getting some type of message. For however small it is, you're getting a message, and you need to listen to it. And I just think, what happens if not, like us two, had never listened to those messages we got? Where would we be right now? I would feel so out of my purpose. Even if I was doing Akashic Records, I feel like this podcast is even bigger. It's even bigger, and it's going to be a way for people to get the messages they need. So I feel so grateful that I pushed past my comfort zone. And I feel that way with everything I've pushed past. I don't regret it. I don't look back and think, why did I do that? No, it might have been hard. It might have been scary. It might have, given me some anxiety at moments. It might have made me feel really crappy. But in the end, it was what I needed to do. And I feel in my purpose. So I am so grateful. But if you don't do that, you're going to be stuck.
Yeah. So that's the spiritual aspect of, or listening to your self-intuition. That's the spiritual aspect of pushing past your comfort zone, right? And learning new things and learning new tools that maybe are a little, everybody calls it woo-woo, which I think is like really, I don't know why. It's like everybody calls all this stuff woo-woo, but to me, it's just normal. But we grew up with it, right? But if it's learning any of those many tools that are out there, because there's a lot of tools, and there's not one that just works for everybody, because if not, we would only have one tool. Find the one that works for you. And that's kind of where we are also in our own path. We're doing all these courses and learning all this other stuff because we want to be able to share these with everybody that's listening so that they can actually find whichever of all of those tools work for them. So we're trying to kind of help ourselves and help others and go, okay, we tried this tool, which we're going to do a whole episode on all the things that we've tried, so we can help people kind of figure out which one they blend with more and they want to try out for themselves. But that's going past your comfort zone spiritual-wise. And then we talked about the like professional work, and you talked about like changing jobs. Oh my God, changing jobs is really scary sometimes. Like the times that I change jobs, you don't feel comfortable in the new place for like 6 months. So you have to like work at this place for 6 months before you're comfortable with your new, like the new atmosphere, the new office space, whether it's a cubicle or an office in itself, whatever.
Your coworkers.
Comfortable with. Yes, your coworkers, they're the new energy, because everybody has their own energy. The energy of everybody, as a community inside of that office, that's going to have its own energy. And like, lunch breaks, you're going to have to sit down with different people and have like in the beginning really awkward, hey, the weather outside's really nice conversations, right? Before you actually get to know them a little bit more and feel like you can talk to them with something beyond just superficial like weather talk, right? And that can take 6 months, and that's scary. And I myself, I remember when I was going to switch jobs, I'm like, am I going to really switch jobs? Am I going to put myself through this another 6 months when I'm like, finally, I'm like comfortable here. I know how it works. I know exactly how it's going to go. And it's pushing past that, because if you listen to the mind go, oh, come on, like we're going to do this again.
But I do feel, at least for me, that's the way it's always been. I know when it's time to change. When you get to that point, like it's even a little bit past your comfort zone. It's like you're in like the boredom zone. You're like, I've been doing this for so long. I've been doing the same thing day in, day out. I can close my eyes and do my job. It's like, what am I learning? How am I growing? Am I even growing anymore? And every job will bring you to the next. That's how it's been in my whole life. One job is served the next. And all of the skills I've learned in each job have helped my next job. So you're constantly growing. You need to see it as that. It's like, ask yourself, professionally, physically, health-wise, spiritually, am I growing at all? If I'm not, then I am in my comfort zone. I need to expand. I need to do something different, even if it's taking one aspect and growing in that aspect, like your health, being like, all right, I'm going to make my health a priority. Take inventory, like I always say, and change one little thing. It doesn't have to be huge. Even just like cutting sugar out, or just don't drink soda if you drink soda, for example, or eat more vegetables, add things in, don't subtract, add more good things. So you have less space for like quote unquote bad things. I don't like, saying good or bad, but healthier options. It could be just as simple as that sometimes.
You cannot take out of my comfort zone taking chocolate out of my diet. I'm sorry, Lorena. It is not permitted.
Chocolate.
But that's a good thing that you said, like, the boredom zone of work. That's totally true. Like, it's a point where you're like, ugh, like, I already know exactly what I'm going to do. and which is a good thing for your mind to be, not to have the fear and have the tranquility, but also it starts bringing, that sensation of, I'm kind of done. Like, what am I going to do? And I've had readings with people that come, like, have read them, had gotten their Akashic Records read, and it's like, okay, well, I feel like I'm done here at this job. I want to ask about my job. I'm like, yeah, you've been done for a while. Like, you should have left 3 years ago, man.
It's
so
scary.
Like, I've gotten that. I've channeled that a lot. Yeah, there's people that stayed at the jobs, 5 years plus. Some of them 3 years more than they should have been at a certain place, and they're like soul, and they're masters, and they're light guys are just sitting around going, okay, we're waiting.
What are you gonna do?
When's the change gonna finally happen? Yeah, we're waiting, because there's free will. They can't push you. They can throw signs at you and be like, they'll somehow get you to see a job opening or a vacancy, or get you interested in something that shows up, like an ad that shows up on your computer, or a bulletin board, or whatever it is that you pass and you go, oh look, that's kind of what I was thinking about I wanted to do. Yeah, that's your light guides and your masters telling you, hello, yeah, get moving. Let's go, girl.
Ask for signs.
Or dude,
right?
Let's go, dude. Yeah.
Ask for signs.
Yeah, you can totally ask for signs. Yeah.
That helps.
But it gets to a point where there's free will, and if you ignore those signs, they're not permitted to keep pushing you, because that's against their own contract with your spirit. Because you have a contract with them that they have to, obviously they have to guide you, but they can't push you. So there's a point where, like, you can ask for signs, but if you ask for signs and it keeps coming and you're ignoring them, they can't do any more for you.
Yeah. They're never, it's like a light nudge, but they're never going to, like, push you to do something. I mean, sometimes there could be a wake-up call with something that you really need to do. Like, you can get really sick.
Yes.
You can be in a car accident. I think a lot of these things, like, these are just examples, but, it's something that's bigger than you, that you can't even control. That can happen too. But I feel like all of us within us have, like, power to really listen to the messages. But we have to be open to seeing them and hearing them and letting them appear in our life. Otherwise, we're not going to hear them.
Or me, dream premonitions for years till you finally wake up and go, Lucia, hello, get to reading, get to channeling. And so that's like the work aspect of pushing past your comfort zone. I think I really want to talk about, because this is a big one for a lot of people, relationships. I get a lot of people coming for readings and asking about their partner, and what sometimes looks like a really obvious situation where there's nothing left for you to learn, this person from you and you from this person. You already feel it in your heart, and in the bottom of your gut, you already feel like you shouldn't be there anymore. But for fear of what might not be out there, or what might be out there that might not be quality, I've seen that a lot. Some individuals just stay with their partner because, they think, what? Like, have you seen the individuals that are on these dating apps? They're really not that great. Like, it's slim pickings out there, man. But that's what they think, right? But that's your ego stopping you from progressing. Because if you're looking into how things are outside on the dating app world, it's because you're thinking about it. And if they're thinking about it, it probably means because you already know that you should be leaving, and you not ending the relationship, which means you're not closing that door. The candidate that is supposed to come in to you, they can't come in. There's that saying, when one door opens, another. Or when a window opens, a door opens.
When you close a door, a window opens or something. I don't know.
Yes, that. Yeah, okay. Apparently I'm not too good with these. Okay. Yeah, that's what I meant. So it's like you have to close that door so that the whatever has to come to you can come to you. But as long as you don't have that door properly closed, you're going to see bad options because you're not open to the good options yet. You're not accepting better. You're just accepting what you're with right at the time, which is probably for you no longer vibrating with you, right?
Yeah, that's a tricky one, I feel, because sometimes there's things within ourselves that we aren't working on, and that might be affecting the people and things around you. So I think as long as you know in your heart, in your gut, that you have you're basically aligned with who you are, and you are who you need to be, and that you aren't letting anything limit what's coming in, I think in those cases, if it still doesn't feel right, then maybe it isn't right. It's also following your gut, I think, with these things. Because
that's what I'm saying. Like, if you know, if you're feeling in the bottom of your gut, then it's probably true for you. But some cases
it's tricky though, because
things
the
that
ego
you need to wake up to and change.
Yeah, but your ego can get in the way there, right? Your ego can really get in the way there, and that's where it's like a fine line sometimes. Where you're like, okay, cool. I don't know what's going on here. Am I okay? Is there anything I need to work on spiritually? On my ego, because the ego is what can ruin things sometimes, not only with the comfort zone, but with other things too, relationships and friendships and our job and all these things. But I think
the best advice that I ever heard was, you're not supposed to have this really tranquil, calm, perfect relationship. That is your friends, that is your family, and that is even your partner. Like, you're not supposed to, because what are you going to learn? What are you going to grow from there? You're actually supposed to have conflict between these individuals, because that's what the contract said. That let's have this conflict at some point in our lives together, because I need to learn this and you need to learn that. So the souls get together and decide that they're going to teach each other these things. So sometimes it is a contract and a lesson, and no relationship's ever going to be this like straight line, like beep, right? It can't because there's no learning. It has to go up and down and up and down. Like everything else that cycles in the world, it has to go up and down. It has to cycle around. And so you just got to figure out which one it is, which sometimes is tricky. Is it that I need to learn something, or is it this is over? So like, obviously we can't speak for everybody because everybody's in different situations, but I'm talking about like the experiences we have had.
Or is the person like mirroring something? That comes up a lot too. Like, is it you? Like that comes up tons in some of the readings I've done. And I feel like in my own life, a lot of things that I was like projecting onto the other person, I'm like, well, actually that's me. I'm doing that too. But why am I putting it all on the other person? Like that's not being that's not growing. You know what I mean? So I think always not in a way of blaming or, you know, coming back to yourself and like, you know, beating yourself down, but always check yourself, see what you're projecting, see if what you see in the other person is really inside of you too, because most cases it is. We're seeing something in the other person that we also do or we also feel. And that's where you can, you know, put your ego aside and figure things out and understand it in a different way. But I also think, a lot of times there's karmic ties. There's things you come here to learn with somebody, and once you finish learning that, maybe that person no longer needs to be in your life. And a lot of times, like, it is true. Like, if things were so easy, if we didn't have to get out of our comfort zone, life would be so boring. What would we be here for then?
Oh my God, it would be awful.
It'd be horrible. Like,
what, as a Latina, no drama. What am I supposed to do with my life?
Yeah, that's the whole purpose of being here, to learn and to grow. And something I had like a very big realization probably like a month ago or 3 weeks ago. I got my birth chart read, and one day I was just driving home and I was listening to a podcast, and I said, oh my gosh, because I don't know, they were talking about relationships and relationships with themselves. I think it was some women. And I realized we are all so individual, like we're so unique. Our paths are so different that we can never compare ourselves to anybody else, because like even just the way they were reading my chart, like the reading I got, and even yesterday with Christos, like a lot of it was my chart. And how, for example, for me, a lot of it is learning from other people, from relationships. And maybe that's not your case, but for me it is. So it's essential that I am in a relationship or friendships or coworkers or whatever, because they're going to teach me about myself, and that's how I'm going to grow. Maybe that's not the case for everybody, but I think if we learn what we're here to do and how we're supposed to manage things or get guidance, basically, that'll help us navigate things a little bit easier, I think. I don't know. It just made me realize how individual and unique we are. And it's so easy to compare ourselves to other people and to other people's journeys and what they're going through and why is it so easy for them and why are things so hard for me? Maybe it's supposed to be hard for you. Maybe it's supposed to be hard for me because I'm supposed to learn something bigger and that's going to make me grow even more.
Yeah, can we talk about that for a second? Because I know that you and I, independent from like the podcast, we've had conversations over the phone where we've talked about manifesting and we've talked about they come up with all these manifestation programs or manifestation, I guess I ams and affirmations or hypnosis, and you're supposed to bring these amazing things into your life, everything you ever wanted. And that sounds great, and that's to a point it is true to me at least, but from the information that I've worked with and even my own readings that I've gotten done with other readers and the readings that I've done, I can tell you two things. One thing is you got to look first to see what your contract is. Sometimes we're actually here to struggle at certain moments in our life. And that could be for more than one reason. It could be because you're supposed to learn from that struggle. Or because if they give you, for example, money, right? If they give you this big wad of money and go, here, go, do whatever you want, you're actually not going to end up doing that one thing that you're supposed to do. Maybe you're supposed to spend some quality time or go help out at a shelter. And if they gave you, $200,000 off the bat, you probably would go travel and do your own thing, right? So I'm just giving like a silly example, but sometimes you're not supposed to have that thing that you really want or you really desire because you're trying to accomplish something at that moment, and maybe that can come in after you accomplish that, because if they make it easy and they give you everything you've ever wanted, you're not gonna have to work for it. And then it's not because you're supposed to work for your money, but because you have a contract and you have things you have to accomplish and you're supposed to learn. It's this pending karma you have, right? And some situations, if it's easy, it's not going to allow you to get there. So manifestation is great, but make sure that you have enough knowledge of your own karmic contract and your own mission or purpose. And even if you've never gotten a reading before, you just know by your intuition, like, I know that I don't have this in my life because there's something else. Like, you kind of know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get you. And I think still mindset and your beliefs are very important, because you can, clear the path a lot that way, right?
Yes.
So I think that's still such an important job, and I think something we need to take upon ourselves to do anyway. It doesn't matter where you're at or what you're doing. Always try to push past all these beliefs that we have, the mindset. That could be through hypnotherapy. That could be through, I don't know, anything that you feel called to do. For me, hypnotherapy helped me quite a lot, and I do feel like it could help people. And it doesn't have to be that. It could be anything, really. But I think if we push past that and then we're still struggling, then there might be something more to it, and you'll feel it. You know it.
Yes.
We all have intuition inside of us. It's our job to listen to it, and that's been a struggle.
So that was like the second thing I was going to say, the blockages.
Yeah, the blockages.
The one thing is the contract you have to consider about manifesting, and the second one is the blockages. Like, maybe there's something in your subconscious that's blocking you from it. So it's not as easy as, I want this and this and this, and repeat it a few times and imagine it's already in my life, and that's great. But if one of those two things are present in your life, it probably won't be able to materialize,
Yeah, I think it's just a little more complex than some people make it out to be, for sure.
Yes. And that makes me a little upset, actually, because I think that it's really sad that there's a bunch of people going out there and kind of going, hey, just do this, buy my book and do this, and you're gonna do great, it's gonna be amazing. And I'm not saying that their message is awful, because they have really nice messages, but I wish that there would be, and that's kind of a part of the reason why I also said yes to the podcast. I wish there was someone that would have grabbed me years ago and gone, yeah, that's great, try to manifest this, but have you considered maybe to see what your contract is and what you're supposed to do and what your purpose is? And also, have you looked at, is anything blocking you? How was your childhood, or what are your negative programs? What are your negative beliefs that might be getting you stuck? I wish someone had stopped me, because I would have gotten a lot more done many years ago,
For
right?
Sure. there are some great people out there. There's some people that are trying their best to, but they might not know. They're trying to get a message out there, trying to help people. But I think we all need to be very aware of what the reality is, what it is. And I think Christos and Foster, in their episode, in our chat with them, were very clear. So there's a lot of information out there. And we have taken it upon ourselves to make sure we put everything out there. And I think that's also, I'm changing the subject a little bit, but that's also one of my favorite podcasts, because I'm into fitness and all that, is Mind Pump. Because Mind Pump is there to debunk things, and they're going to talk about things, and they're going to dissect things, and they're going to look at studies, and they're going to try things out. And some people are out there not to tell the truth. Some people aren't there to be honest. Some people are out there just to make money. And it's not about that. This spiritual path is not about that. It needs to be about something more. It needs to be about helping people and bringing the truth forward. And that's our mission. That's what we're here to do.
Yeah. And that's why I love that we're studying all these things, like, I'm not going to name them because we're going to do an episode about it, but like all these things that we're learning ourselves, and we're actually going to like the mastery and the teacher level, because we want to get to the bottom of it and say like, hey, this actually worked for me, and I'm like trying it on other people. This actually worked for me and all these other people. This is a legit tool. Maybe it doesn't work for everybody, but the majority, they like it and it works for them. Like, so I want to like try all these out and see, okay, is this cool? This is cool. Okay. Because I don't want to recommend something or tell someone, try this out, without like actually knowing if it really is a thing that functions. Like, I don't want people to waste their time or money on something that doesn't, because I did that too many times. And I'm like, hey, you know what?
But you know what? There's nothing like
myself.
Trying something to really get that doubt out of your mind. Like, I tried this, it didn't work. Because what might work for me might not work for somebody else.
Yeah.
That's the reality. Some people are more open to the Akashic Records than others, and that's why we receive certain readings from people and other people never come to us. And that's okay. We're not all here to do the same thing. And I think as long as we're going back to the comfort zone, because I think we went a little bit on a tangent, but it's okay because we're still doing what we got to do. But that's also getting out of your comfort zone, trying something different, because you feel called to try it, because you feel something inside of you is telling you, I need to try this. I need to do this. I have a feeling that if I try this, it will help me, that it will help me heal. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but at least you're getting out of your comfort zone. You're trusting your intuition. You're doing something different. And then if that doesn't work, you move on to the next thing. And it doesn't mean spending a bunch of money. It might mean asking people for help. It might mean, getting a different mindset, thinking of things in a different way. Like you said the other day, something you heard, you want to change, you need to wake up and do things in a whole different way. Like every morning, wake up. If every morning you wake up and the first thing is, make a cup of coffee, maybe you just sit down and meditate for 5 minutes instead, and then you grab your cup of coffee. Do it.
I tried it. It was amazing till I took my headphones off and I heard I heard Aurora screaming in the background. I'm like, this meditation already went out the window.
But you tried it, and then maybe that doesn't work, and there's a reason why you were doing it the way you were. But that's getting out of your comfort zone. Even if it's like the tiniest little thing, try it. Do it. I don't.
I think we covered everything.
Yeah,
now.
I think we're going to do another episode on this because there's going to be more things coming up. But I think we've covered most of the main things. Thank you, everybody, again for tuning in to the podcast. We really, really, really appreciate all of your support and trusting our message and listening to us. We really appreciate it. And we'll be back next week with another episode. Have a great week, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning into this episode. We hope you enjoyed it and you got something out of it. As always, thank you so much, everybody, for sharing, downloading, subscribing to the podcast. This is amazing, and we really appreciate all your support. As always, please be sure to follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is @soul_tribe_podcast. Please share this episode with anybody you think might benefit from this information. I think that a lot of us are living in comfort zone. I mean, myself included. And if this episode can inspire anybody to try something different, even if it's something small, just to get inspired, then our job is done. So yeah, thank you again. We hope you have a great week, and take care. Bye guys.